Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are live. This time you can hear the audio. You should be able to hear the audio. I got nervous because this is how the last year stream started, and then everything else broke, right? So here we go. I need to manage everything because for some reason, for some reason this didn't work. So we got to make the last stream private. But yeah, we're gonna start on a positive attitude this time because last year's stream really didn't start off with a very positive vibe because everything broke. The screen where I can move everything, it broke, but I think we should be good to go here. Let's see. I need to find the correct thumbnail now to update. I'm looking for that right now as we speak. I'm in my thumbnail folder and this thing needs to be organized. But yeah, here it is. Save changes, and this should be up to date because everything else I think is good to go. Potentially. Let me make sure everything is working here. Okay, you can hear me on this scene, and then I want to make sure you guys can hear me on this screen as well. What up? It is indeed draft day. It is indeed draft day. Right now I'm testing the audio for everything. All right, let's see. I'm still waiting for the scene to switch. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. We're good to go. We are okay. Everything's ready. Starting off on a positive note this year because last year was disastrous. Disastrous, right? Everything broke here, so I couldn't really have everything how I wanted it. Now this year, everything should be good to go. I believe we have officially updated the thumbnail because the last one, last stream, the audio wasn't working. So yeah, here we go. I think we're good to go here, right? We're good to go. We're good to go. Okay, perfect. We are good to go. Now, everything, I guess I need to reset the scroll bar. I don't know how I want to do the format this year, but I guess let's get to talking about what could potentially happen today for the Denver Broncos, right? There have been some rumors that have started to spark up within the last few hours that we could potentially be trading up. I would probably not prefer that. I would rather stick and pick at 20 or trade down. However, a scenario that I wouldn't mind trading up is actually happened in my last Broncos mock draft is if we stuck at pick 20 or traded down and then we trade back into the first and we double dip in the first round. So we would get Travion Henderson and Emeka Egbuka, for example, picking up 2 first-round picks. Wouldn't mind trading back into the first, but trading up, I love Ashton Jeanty. I think trading up to get him would be too much. Don't really want to trade up for either Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland. That's just my opinion. But yeah, those are the rumors that have been sparking up over the past a few hours as we are 19 minutes away from the draft officially kicking off. And I'm going to go into my stream from last year, actually maybe the last 2 years, to see how I want to do the format for the scroll bar up top. I like the speed, but I don't know if how I want to do the format, right? So how do I want to do it, right? Do I want to do it where it's the number and then a dot and then the team name, or if I want to do the dash? I think I'll just keep things would rather trade down if possible, do not trade up. I agree. I completely agree with you. I think trading up at this point would cost an arm and a leg. And I don't think it's worth it for any player, if I'm being honest. The only time that you would want to trade up and give away an arm and a leg is if you want to trade up for your franchise quarterback. And we don't need that. We seriously do not need that. So yeah, I completely agree with you that trading up at this point is kind of mundane and useless. Don't really want that. But here, let's go here, scroll bar, and we are going to delete this all, and we're going to do one dot, and then we're going to do Tennessee, and then it's the player name slash position, right? So it will be something like player name slash position. So it'll be something like that. It'll be something like that. I know the scroll bar is short, but as more picks come in, they will get longer. Right now, they are. If you're watching with me, they're announcing Maxwell Hairston. He's walking across the stage, and yeah, here we go. So Travis Hunter's crossing the stage now, and I'll say this again as we get closer, but no spoilers in the chat for the pick. I like to see it on my screen and then announce it, and then we can talk about it. Just because I've seen, and I like to go and watch other people's streams at the end of the day and see how their reactions are to all the picks and all the craziness that happens. And a lot of people, their chat spoils it for them, so it kind of takes away the fun, in my opinion. But that's kind of just my honestly only rule. No spoilers, and yeah, we'll be good to go. We'll be good to go. All right, here, if we switch over to this screen, I do need to go to this. Here we go. This is my top 100 board. Again, I'm just some idiot on the internet, and my rankings, they're not going to be with the consensus, but it's just my rankings, so I wanted to have a little fun with it. And then potentially we can talk. I brought this website up because it's easier to visualize, right? It's easier to visualize the players we want. The logos aren't loading, but this is the easiest place to visualize. For me, I think if you are an avid viewer of the channel, for me, one of the 3 players I would want the Broncos to draft tonight at pick 20, as things stand, TreVeyon Henderson is one of them, Emeka Egbuka is one of them, and Luther Burden. I think those are my top 3 players right now. But we'll have to see how things play. If we trade down, potentially, yeah, we'll have to see how things go. I love Quinshon Judkins, and if we go a receiver or a different direction in the first, would love Judkins as an option in the second round. But I guess we can go position by position here. Quarterback, don't need one. If they trade up in my first, if they trade up in the first, my phone's getting thrown into the ocean. Yeah, Judson, I would agree with you. I don't want the Broncos to trade up either. Let's switch back to this screen. The only scenario that I would want them to trade up for would honestly be if we were to get a second first-round pick, right? So stay at 20, or even if you trade down a couple spots, and then you would trade in at pick, 29 with the Commanders, essentially exchanging your second-round pick for another first-round pick. That scenario, I wouldn't mind. But if we have to move up and give up an arm and a leg, yeah, I'm gonna be kind of upset. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a smokescreen. I'm pretty confident that it's gonna be a smokescreen, or it is a smokescreen for a potential trade up. But I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. It's an exciting time. But yeah, I would rather stick and pick at 20 or trade down. That's kind of my preference for the Broncos here. But yeah, moving on. I guess players that I want, Genty would be nice, but way too high. Don't want to trade up. Omarion Hampton. I'm not as high on Omarion Hampton as a lot of people are. I wouldn't mind him, but I would prefer TreVeyon Henderson. Like Quinshon Judkins. Not super high on Caleb Williams or Cam Scatterbo. If we didn't get Henderson, Judkins, or Hampton, I kind of want Dylan Sampson. That's kind of my guy. Absolutely, I'm in for trading back into the first, just not trading up for Genty or any top 10 position. 100% agree with you. Yeah, that's with the rumors, that's kind of been stressing me out for the past few hours. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. That's been something I've been kind of dreading. But I'm hoping we don't have to worry. I'm hoping that's Sean Payton throwing out the smoke screens as he was doing last year when he supposedly tricked the Vikings into trading up for J.J. McCarthy. I'm hoping it's smoke screens, and yeah, we'll have to see. Right now, I think it's going to be TreVeyon Henderson. That's kind of my prediction, and I've stuck with it. But a player it could absolutely be is Luther Burden, and I might be saying that because I'm a Luther Burden fan, but we haven't heard any news really on Luther Burden in terms of being linked with the Broncos. Emeka's been mocked to us quite a bit. Henderson, Amarian Hampton, and Colston Loveland have kind of been the guys. And I know Sean Payton doesn't like to hand out information willy-nilly. So we'll see. Maybe they go after someone who they think will get. But for me, I'm kind of, I don't know. It's tough to say. But I don't know. I'm excited. I'm pumped for this as we await the draft to start here in Ibuka at 20, trade back into the first, grab Henderson. Honestly, that's kind of my ideal scenario. You could honestly flip the 2 picks as well, and I wouldn't mind it. But I think grabbing Ibuka and then trading up for Henderson, that might be the more likely scenario in terms of the player still being on the board. But I would be happy with either. I would agree with you and grab the wide receiver first because of how deep the draft is and at the running back position. And then the running backs, it's deeper. But yeah, I would agree probably Ibuka first or TreVeyon Henderson second. But I would take them in I could flip the order and I'd be happy to. As we are just outside of 10 minutes remaining until the draft begins. I'm gonna take a drink of water here. But yeah, the Titans are about to be on the clock in about 10 minutes. We'll have to see. They always do some pre-draft festivities, but yeah, I think I keep getting distracted. I keep going back and forth, but we mentioned the running backs. Receivers I want would probably be Emeka and Luther Burden. I like Matthew Golden. I wouldn't be upset if that was the pick at 20. I like Jaden Higgins. And those are kind of the guys I'm super interested in, right? And then there's some guys later in the draft who I wouldn't mind. Derek Harmon at 20 or Henderson. See, to me, I guess we can move over to defensive line now. To me, I'm not as high on Derek Harmon as a lot of people are. I know a lot of Broncos fans are high on Derek Harmon. It wouldn't be the worst pick for me, but if we did go defensive line, I am more of a Walter Nolan guy. I know he's a little bit undersized, maybe character issues. I can't remember, and I'm not going to speak on character issues because I don't know him personally, never met him, so I can't really speak on character issues unless it's something very serious, right? But Walter Nolan, someone who I really like. If we did go at the defensive line position or even Kenneth Grant. Harmon, to me, is tough. If we traded down and drafted Harmon, I think I would be okay. At pick 20, though, I think that's a little steep for my blood personally. But hey, if you like Derek Harmon, that's awesome. That's awesome. I don't want anyone to feel, I don't know, ashamed of liking a player that I don't like. Because that's fun. It's fun to have discourse. It's fun to agree or disagree. And, you know, I think that's one of the best things about the draft is people disagreeing on opinion of who likes who. So, yeah, I think that's one of the coolest things about the NFL draft. Not a Harmon guy for me personally. Walter Nolan would be my guy at defensive end. One guy who I would seriously consider if he fell, and I don't think he is going to fall, but it would be Will Johnson, the Michigan cornerback. To me, he's a top 5 player. He's my number 4 player in this class here. I would be hard-pressed not to draft Will Johnson. I know he's more of a slot guy, so you're kind of pushing out Jaquan McMillan. You're pushing out Chris Abrams-Drain a little bit, but I think Will Johnson is talented. Now, he has been slipping. There's been a couple where he's made it to the Broncos pick and slipped past, and then there's some he's making it to the late teens, but big Will Johnson fan at pick 20. I would seriously consider it, but I got to say, TreVeyon Henderson, Emeka Ibuka, Those are kind of the guys I'm targeting. But yeah, here we go. We are getting closer to the draft. 7.5 minutes. First, second, third should be defense and offensive line. Disagree, Jerry. I strongly disagree, considering how much we're paying our offensive line and how well they performed last year and how much we paid to our defense and stacked the defense. Sure, you could grab a defensive player in one of the first 3 picks, but you have to address some issues on offense and get Bo more weapons. The offseason free agency was dedicated to the defense, in my opinion. This year, or here in the draft, specifically early within your first 3 picks, you have to help Bo out. Will Johnson will probably drop because of injury issues. That is true. And I'm a big Will Johnson fan, so I would seriously consider at pick 20. But it wouldn't be our biggest need, right? You would probably, if you did go defense, you would want to go either interior or take an edge, probably interior for the Broncos, right? Interior defensive lineman. But yeah, if we do go defense, I do think you have to go on the line route. But right now, I think we gotta help our offense, gotta help Bo out. That's our biggest priority, in my opinion. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and see if there's any rumors that have popped up within the last few minutes before the draft starts. Nothing so far. I do think it was smoke screens the trade up. At least I'm hoping it's a smoke screen, but yeah, we'll see. I'm not going to look at any like non-credible sources because there are people who, might have information, but if they aren't credible, I'm not going to look at it because a lot of people are posting misinformation this time of year, specifically like right now before the draft starts. So here we go. All right. Just over 5 minutes away from the draft. All right. Going back into the kind of trade down talks and whatnot, my stance on it, I think if one of your guys is available at 20, stick there, pick him up and get your guy. And then if you want to trade back into the first, you can. And then in a trade down scenario, I would want to try and stay in the first if that trade down scenario presents itself. I don't think it's likely. So if you wanted to trade back up into the first, you would probably, or if you wanted to trade down and still have a first round pick, you would have to trade down into the second and then move back into the first, which wouldn't be a horrible idea. And I also think it depends on what you get in the trade down. If you're not getting a whole lot, definitely stick at 20. But I mean, I'm kind of open for a trade down depending on how the board falls tonight. But my gut still says TreVeyon Henderson. He's been my prediction for a while now. He just fits, dude. He just fits. Great pass protector, can help out in the receiving game, right? Going to make people miss an open space, has the breakaway speed. We'll see though. As we are 3 minutes, 50 seconds away, I have the draft muted right now. That will be unmuted as soon as it starts. I just always get distracted because I'm listening into what they have to say. So that's why typically I have it muted right now. All right. They're showing the green room right now. I'm actually going to unmute it right now. All right. Here we go. It's exciting. These are some of my favorite days of the year. And maybe part of me wants the Broncos to draft someone here because I want that instant satisfaction. That might be why I want to stick in the first round. But like I mentioned when I talked about the trade down scenario, I think the 5th-year option is super valuable as well, right? There's some players who exceed expectations like Pat Surtain. It's like, oh yeah, obviously you're going to pick up his 5th-year option and then sign him to an extension. Where others, it's like, okay, yeah, bust, don't have to worry about it. And then there's others, it's like, kind of unsure. Let's pick up that 5th year option. Let's get some more eval, and then we can decide later on. So that's kind of, I do love the 5th year option. That's why I would want to have a player with the 5th year option. But yeah, we'll have to see. We will have to see how things play out here. Also, my phone, I am going to go ahead and put it back here because in years past, I have just instinctively, I don't think I said that right. Maybe I did, but just by my instincts, I've grabbed my phone and opened it, and it's kind of sad that the world has come to this now. But I just grabbed it and then opened up, and then I've been spoiled whatever the next pick is. So phone's gonna step aside, and then I do have something over here on this monitor where the chat is that I can throw over the chat screen when the Broncos pick, and maybe for every pick, because my only rule is don't say who's been drafted until I announce it, just because I like to see it on my screen and not get spoiled. And I'm watching the draft via ESPN on my web browser via the ESPN website. So I think I'm behind still by maybe like 20 seconds or something like that. So I think you guys are going to see it first if you're watching on television. So that's why that's just my only rule. And then we can, of course, discuss it and everything. But yeah, here we go. Let's see. Actually, let me pull up a notepad. Let's have my mock draft up here just so I can look at it as well. Cam Ward going 1. The Browns, it sounds like there have been rumors that they might trade out of number 2, which would be absolutely insane. But are you really going to pass up on Travis Hunter? Maybe you do if he said he doesn't really want to play for you, but I don't really think that that's going to be the case. Will Campbell at 4. At 5, I think it's Mason Graham. 6 to the Raiders, unfortunately, I think it's going to be Ashton Jeanty, although there have been reports that maybe they don't go Ashton Jeanty, right? So we'll see. All right, I need to grab my phone because it is 6 p.m. I think I got to switch over. I got to switch over for my ESPN, right? So it's the ESPN draft countdown. We need to switch it over to the draft, right? So here we go. Oh man. 2025 NFL draft on ABC. Is this the correct one? Maybe. Maybe. One sec. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to hide my face cam real quick. I just need to. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right. 2025 NFL Draft presented by Courtyard by Marriott. There we go. If it ever decides to load. Okay. Hold up. Things are taking a while. Things aren't loading. Internet is being slow, which is not good. Sorry. I know I'm umming and ahhing a lot. I just gotta get this draft stream working so I can see it, right? So come on. Oh my goodness. This is frustrating right now. This is really frustrating. Come on, draft. Channel is not. Oh my goodness, dude. ESPN. Um, NFL Draft. Somehow I'm not logged in. Even though I just was. Dude. I'm going to lose my marbles here. I was just signed in ESPN. Why was I logged out? And why isn't anything loading? Dude. Oh, man. Oh, man. I'm getting mad. Okay, I'm actually getting mad now. The draft is starting and I can't even see it because here we go. Let's hope this works. All right, we got it up on ABC. We got it. We got a different one going, but I don't know why the normal ESPN one isn't working. All right, here we go. Started off mad again, but whatever. Whatever. It's still on ESPN, so I think it'll be the same commentators, but oh man. One sec. They're introducing everything. I'm gonna go get a washcloth. I just spilled on my jersey. One sec. Um, let's go ahead. Let's do this real quick. All right. All right. Here we go. Let's go back to here. Let's get ready. Gonna throw the Tennessee Titans logo up here, and we're getting ready to throw them on the clock. All right. They're introducing some of the Packers legends, Clay Matthews and Jordy Nelson, and I think they're going to introduce a couple other people. Mason Crosby is also being introduced, right? I can't get ESPN to work either. It was, yeah, normal ESPN didn't work for me. I'm on ESPN 3 right now. And it's 2025 NFL Draft on ABC. So I do wonder if their broadcast is not working right now, which would be interesting. Let's see. All right. Yeah, normal ESPN is not working right now. At least on their website, right? So we'll see. As long as they have the normal ESPN commentators, I'll be good. And I really I don't really care about who the commentators are a whole lot, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Can't get so worked up about it. But yeah, if you have ESPN 3 or ABC, that's how I'm getting it right now. All right. The draft is officially open, and the Tennessee Titans are on the clock. I think we all know who this is going to be. It is going to okay, they do have the right commentators. It is going to probably be Cam Ward, the quarterback out of Miami. But yeah, I'm probably not going to put the college up just because that's way too much room, and I do have a limited amount of spaces I can use before it starts cutting off or deleting previous text. So I am kind of limited. I can do about a round and a half, maybe 2 rounds with tomorrow with days 2 and 3. But when we get to rounds 4, 5, and 6, when there's like a billion picks in that round, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But yes, the phone is going to give it one last look at rumors and whatnot. Then we're setting it aside so we're not spoiled, because I have been spoiled by picks in the past. And according to Diana Rossini, the Broncos are making an aggressive push to move inside the top 10. Don't love hearing that, and I'm just hoping it's a smokescreen. Just hoping it's a smokescreen. So, all right, here we go. Phone going away, although I'm probably going to forget and still spoil myself somehow, as the Titans have 8.5 minutes left. Now, for me, where would I rank Cam Ward with last year's quarterbacks? And to me, he would have been quarterback 7. I was a lot higher on Bo Nix than a lot of people were, and I was still lower on Michael Penix than a lot of people. I had Michael Penix as my QB6 last year. Cam Ward, to me, though, I think he would go as QB7 for me personally. And again, I'm just an idiot on the internet. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. 7 minutes still remain for the Titans. They're talking about Travis Hunter, who I do think is the best player in the class, just due to his versatility, playing offense, defense. Going to be the Shohei Ohtani of the NFL. Now, can he do it at the level Shohei Ohtani can? Potentially. So we'll have to see. Now, here's something I don't really want to do. But I think we probably should. If we go over here, if we are considering moving into the top 10, and I hope it's a smokescreen, I hope we don't. Where's the most likely situation? 10, I don't think so. Probably for me, I would say either pick 9 with the Saints, or it would be pick 5 with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think those are the two entry points. Since we're so worried about this, I think we got to look at those two entry points potentially for a Broncos trade up. Again, I hope it's not, but those are the two spots that I would be looking. If the trade up is true, maybe Cleveland at 2. We'll have to see what happens. There's been rumblings that Cleveland at 2 might trade down to 5 with the Jaguars and then trade down again, and that could be with the Broncos. Again, I hope we do not trade up. That's going to be too much. I love Genty, but I think trading that much for a running back is very pricey, especially when I really like TreVeyon Henderson, who we could get at 20. And one of the tight ends, big Tyler Warren fan, more so than Colston Loveland. Don't think we should trade up for a tight end, though, right? So for me, I want to stick at 20 or even trade down and pick up TreVeyon Henderson, Emeka Egbuka, or even Luther Burden. Those are the three I want. Not the only three picks I would like, but those are my three preferences at pick 20. So here we go. Also, I decided to get a straw for my water because I spilled all over when I didn't use it. So I figured I really don't want to get this Bo Nix jersey pretty dirty. So yeah, here we go. 5.5 minutes remain for the Tennessee Titans. And they might be making the Titans wait because you should probably know who you want at the first overall pick, right? But last year we saw with Caleb Williams that the NFL made the Bears wait for a certain time to submit the pick. So that could be it. Or they could just the pick could be in and they're not announcing that the pick is in yet, right? But the Titans are at 5 minutes remaining. Don't think they trade out of here unless it's with 2 or 3 and they stick with Will Levis again, but we'll see. Okay, the pick is in and they just said they're by Cam Ward's family. So you would imagine if he's getting a lot of hugs and there's a lot of tears flowing like they said, you would imagine that Cam Ward is the pick here. So here we go. The pick is in, which means the Browns are up and the Browns are on the clock. We do have the trade alert animation back. So if you are watching this or watching this as a VOD or you want to come back to this in a year from now when you're preparing for the next draft, if you want to look for a trade, we do have the trade alert animation to look for specific trades that are about to happen that as the time we're watching this, we don't know what's going to happen. So here we go. So here on ABC, it's actually the College Game Day crew with Kirk Herbstreit, Nick Saban, right? The guys. So actually, I don't mind this crew. Don't mind this crew at all. But yes, the pick is in for the Titans. Here we go. Here we go, man. I'm pumped. I'm pumped. I love the draft. Love the draft every year. Oh, man. I might have just seen something. Guys, we have a trade alert. The Cleveland Browns are trading the number 2 overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars, but the pick is coming in for the Titans right now. But there is a big trade. There is a big trade. The Jaguars are coming up. Are they getting Travis Hunter? Bringing him back to his home state of Florida. All right, here's Roger Goodell. Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami. All right, Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick. I think we expected this. They needed their franchise quarterback. Will Levis, he put on the meme show, was the meme Olympics last year with him. Cam Ward, 0-star recruit coming out of high school, went to Incarnate Ward, then transferred over to Washington State for a few years, then Miami last year, and now he is the number 1 overall pick. As the trade hasn't been announced, maybe I got fleeced, maybe it was wrong, but the Browns are currently on the clock. Nope, we got the trade alert. We got the trade alert. The Cleveland Browns have traded the 2nd overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Jaguars are now on the clock as we got the AFC South here. Let's put on the clock. Oh, man. Jacksonville picking at number 2. Are they taking Travis Hunter? Are they taking Travis Hunter? Wow. Wow. That is crazy. Didn't expect them to trade the 2nd overall pick. Wow. Wow. That dude. Hey, good for the Jaguars, man. Good for the Jaguars getting not only a defensive player but another weapon to help Trevor Lawrence. We assume it's Travis Hunter, right? We assume that. We'll have to officially see when the pick comes in with 6 minutes remaining. The Jaguars are, yeah, 6 minutes remaining for the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? So, wow, fireworks already. Still, at number 5, I do think that is a trade-up scenario for the Broncos. Again, don't want it to happen. But fifth overall could be a place still with the Browns if they're looking to trade down and take Shadur later. But yeah, Cam Ward, start Incarnate Ward, transferred to Washington State, and then transferred to Miami, and is the number 1 overall pick from a zero-star recruit to the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. What a journey, what a ride for Cam Ward. Dude, I can't believe the Jaguars are on the clock. I kind of want to see what they gave up. If I can find what the Jaguars gave up, I will let you all know. The details have not been released, though. And the details, as of right now, okay, here's the details. The Jaguars receive the second overall pick, a 4th-round pick in this year's draft, and a 6th-round pick in this year's draft. And the Browns receive the number 5 overall pick, a 2nd-round pick this year, a 4th-round pick this year, and the Jags' 1st-round pick next year. That is the trade for the Jaguars. So they gave up a future first, but if this is for Travis Hunter, if he can be who we think he is, I mean, hey, there you go. There you go. That is expensive. That's expensive to move from 5 to 2, though. And if that's any indication of what the Broncos would have to pay, dude, I am even more out. I'm even more out on a trade up, man. I'm so nervous. I hope the rumors are fake. I hope they're fake. But man, that is crazy. 4 minutes remaining, but you would have to think they're on the phone right now. The Jaguars are on the phone with their 34-year-old general manager, which is crazy because he's about 10 years older than I am, and he's a general manager of an NFL team. But, yeah. Yeah, they're talking. It looks like they got their player. They got their guy. Who's it going to be? 3.5 minutes. The pick isn't in yet, but I can't see them trading again. I can't see them pulling a Sonny Weaver Jr. as the pick just went in. But, yeah. Yeah. Wow. I'm shocked. The Jaguars won't be picking till the 3rd round, and then they don't have a first next year, but this could be really good. You would assume this is Travis Hunter, right? And that's what they're saying right now on the broadcast. All right. Yeah, 2nd, 4th, and a 6th. The Jaguars get the 2nd overall pick, a 4th-round pick, a 6th-round pick in exchange for the 5th overall pick, their 2nd and 4th-round picks, 2nd and 4th-round pick, and a 1st next year in 2026. Wow. Wow, we are already starting off with a bang, man. Already starting off with a bang. It's draft season, baby. It is draft season. All right, I'm going to test to see. I don't mind this crew, the ABC crew, the what's it called? The college game day crew, but I do want to go to the normal ESPN draft. We'll see if that is working now. Wow. Fireworks, man. Absolute fireworks. Okay, yeah, it's not working, but that's fine. That's fine. I don't mind this crew. That's a ton of capital, dude. It is, and that makes me even more out on a Broncos trade up into the top 10. Um, I mean, if I was out before, I am not on planet Earth right now with how out I am of a trade up into the top 10 with that with that capital to move up 3 spots. 3 spots. I mean, I know it's the second overall pick, but man. All right. Here is the commissioner. Here is Roger Goodell, and you would assume this is for Travis Hunter. As it looks like Eric Armstead is with Roger Goodell. They're talking about the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Yeah, it is Eric Armstead, Walter Payton Man of the Year. Can you write in chat what that trade was? Yes. Give me a second. I can't type it in this thing I have for some reason, so I have to pull up my stream, but I got you. Just as the Jaguars announce the pick, I'm going to I'll do it afterwards actually. I know that didn't come out great, but I'll write in chat after the Jaguars pick is in. Okay, I tried to sign in, didn't work there. All right. Here we go. Oh, never mind. Okay, yeah, no worries. Sorry about that. All right, here is the selection for the Jaguars. Gotcha. Yeah, sorry, I would have done it if it was, but they're in the middle of the selection. All right, here we go. Travis Hunter. Wide receiver corner from Colorado. I'm gonna write him down as cornerback wide receiver because I like him better as a corner, but but yeah, he can play both ways. It will be intriguing to see how the Jaguars use, but here's the Jaguars, or here's the Giants. But yeah, we kind of all know what Travis Hunter can do, right? Cornerback, receiver. How are you going to play him though? Because playing both sides of the ball in the NFL is it's going to be more difficult in the NFL, right? Let me move this down because I'm leaning in. I'm leaning in. That should be good. But how are they going to use him, right? Because it's a lot harder to play both sides, little rest. So I think you play him as a corner. I think that's where he's the better of the two. And then you have some packages on offense where you sub him in. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, by the way, the pick isn't in for the Giants. I'm misclicking all over the place. The Giants, though, yeah, here we go. Yeah, you think about it. Travis Hunter, number 1 recruit a couple years ago, commits to Jackson State. Surprise for everyone. They're like, oh man, he's gonna not go in the first round. Now the second overall pick transfers to Colorado with Coach Prime and Shador, and wins the Heisman Trophy. And now he is the number 2 overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, also, Travis Hunter's dad is in attendance, by the way, for the draft. He got a court order where he's allowed to be in, he's in the building. Three minutes left, just over 3 minutes, I should say, for the Giants here. They could be looking to make a trade. And if it is, I hope it's not the Broncos. Guess Genty isn't going to the Jags. Yeah, but that might mean he's going to the Raiders, so we have to face him twice, which I would hate. Travis Hunter Sr. is getting interviewed right now But dude, if he goes to the Raiders, that would, dude. I mean, they think they got their guy in Geno Smith. I don't know if he's their quarterback of the future, just with his age and whatnot. But they would get back-to-back generational prospects with Genty and Brock Bowers. And I would absolutely hate that. I would absolutely hate that. But all right, 2.5 minutes remain as the pick is in. I'm not even okay. There we go. I need to lock in with my producing skills right now. But the pick is in for the Giants, and you would have to assume this is Abdul Carter. You would have to assume. However, Joe Shane's son posted a Instagram story of Jackson Dart highlights to his Instagram story. Now, maybe they trade back into the first for Jackson Dart, but if they took him at number 3 overall, that would be insane. That would actually be insane. But yeah, Travis Hunter, two-way player at Colorado and at Jackson State. But yeah, I think he's a corner, and then, he's a solid receiver too. To me, he was, and we can go ahead and we can take a look at this. Right? To me, Travis Hunter, he was my cornerback 1. You can't see it. I have my positional rankings here. You can't see it, but he was my corner 1 in my wide receiver 3 this year. So you're getting a really good player. Honestly, maybe worth for the Jaguars to give that up. Maybe not, depending on how far they think they are away from rebuilding, but he's a good player. He's a good player. I know, I was hoping Genty was not going to be a Raider. Me too. Me too, man. Me too. It's just, it'll suck. It'll suck, but, we'll have to get through it. He'll have a tough time going against our defensive line, if that's where he ends up going, right? Don't want to try and predict the draft because it is unpredictable, but he'll have a tough time with our defensive line. So, yeah, there's Travis Hunter, the 2nd overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. As the Giants pick is in, and we are awaiting the commissioner here. Nick Saban's talking about how he was recruiting Travis Hunter to go to Alabama, and he chose to go to Jackson State with prime time. And good for CU fans. I know a lot of Broncos fans are CU fans. I'm not, born and raised in Colorado, but I went to Oklahoma State, so I'm an Oklahoma State Cowboy fan. Travis Hunter absolutely cooked us. And here is a Giants selection here at pick 3. Abdul Carter, edge rusher out of Penn State. I think we also expected this. Now the draft, well, I say the draft now officially starts with New England. It kind of started with, it started when the Jaguars traded up. But in terms of what player is going to go, well, maybe it doesn't start yet, because I think it's going to be Will Campbell here. But I guess the draft technically, I would say actually the draft, which is going to start at 5 with the Browns at pick 5, right? So New England is on the clock, but Abdul Carter, man, he is a beast coming off of the edge, right? I initially thought that James Pierce was going to be the top edge, like at the very start of the year. Maybe some character concerns with James Pierce. Again, not going to speak on those. I don't know him personally, but Abdul Carter can get after the quarterback. He can get after the quarterback, right? So number 3 overall pick, he is going to pair with Brian Burns, and that is going to be a scary pass rush tandem up in New York with the Giants. The question becomes, what do you do with Kayvon Thibodeau? Hasn't really lived up to that. I think it was a 5th overall pick where they selected him last time. But what do you do with Kayvon Thibodeau? Do you recoup some draft capital, trade him away for like a 3rd, 4th, 5th round pick, whatever you can get for him? Potentially. But yeah, Abdul Carter is headed to the Giants. And yeah, him and Brian Burns, that's going to be a scary pass rush tandem, and you got to have good tackles now when going up against the Giants, because they're going to get after your quarterback. They're going to get after your quarterback. So it's a good thing the Commanders traded for Laramie Tunsil. The Cowboys, Giants, and Not Giants, Cowboys. I think the Eagles are fine with their tackles, but Commanders, Eagles, and Cowboys. Geez, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. They got to have some good tackles going up against that pass rush tandem. As the Patriots have 5 minutes remaining with the number 4 overall pick, but I would assume this is going to be Will Campbell, right? You know, you might have to kick him inside due to the arm length. It affects some players. It doesn't affect other players because you look at Peter Skoronski, he had to kick inside to guard for the Titans. But you look at Rashawn Slater, and he stayed at tackle for the Chargers as the pick is in for the Patriots, right? So, yeah, so it just depends. And with how the Patriots are, how their offensive line is, they need upgrades across the offensive line. So if you do have to kick him into guard, you're not going to mind that much because he might be the best guard in this class still, as well as the best tackle. But we'll see what they do as the Browns are back on the clock since the Patriots pick is in. Are they going to trade away? This is a spot where I'm worried about the Broncos potentially jumping the Raiders for Genty. Again, I think Genty's a heck of a player, but it would be way too steep of a price to trade up. Way too steep of a price. I think they're about to cut away to commercial break, but yeah, here we go. All right, here we go. I'm guessing this is Will Campbell. They need O-line help. You need to protect Drake May. And if he kicks into guard, he kicks into guard. If you keep him at tackle, you keep him at tackle. Oh my gosh, I don't know if your guys are watching on ESPN, but they have the Patriots pick is in on the bottom left, and then they got this big bar. It switched to NFL Draft Green Bay, and I got scared that they were about to announce a trade, man. I got pretty scared there. I'm not gonna lie, but here we go. Here we go. Oh man, commercial break. My heart's racing. My heart is racing. All right, need to put my phone away. I need to lock it in a vault. I keep grabbing it. But yeah, Patriots pick is in. Browns are on the clock, followed by the Raiders at 6. Those are the next 3. If I had to predict what's going to happen here, Patriots, I think it's going to be Will Campbell. Browns, I really don't know what's going to happen. You could go Genty. You could go Mason Graham. You could trade down again. The Browns could go in a lot of different directions, right? So who knows? Maybe the Browns go Genty, right? Nick Chubb kind of looks like he's nearing the end of his career after his gruesome injury a few seasons ago. So they could grab Ashton Genty and go from Nick Chubb to Ashton Genty, and that'd be a great pick for them. And it would ensure that the Raiders don't get Ashton Genty. So there's that. As we are at commercial break, I guess I'll try and switch back again to the ESPN draft on Marriott. Just because I do prefer, I don't know, I do like it, but if not, I don't mind having the College Game Day crew with Kirk Herbstreit. Really like Kirk Herbstreit, Nick Saban, right? Des Howard, the fellas you watch before college. But apparently it's not included with my whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. But all right, you know what? I'm not going to ask it. I was going to ask who do we think the Broncos are going to pick right now. I don't really think anything has changed at this point. So we'll talk about it more as it approaches the Broncos selection, right? So here we go. Bum. All right, we're back. We are back. from commercial break. All right. The Giants. Okay, yeah, it went. You guys can see it above, but went Cam Ward to the Titans, Travis Hunter to the Jaguars, and then Abdul Carter to the Giants. The Patriots pick is in, and I do expect it to be Will Campbell, the tackle from LSU. Can be a solid guard too. So let's see here. I believe the commissioner's coming to the stage. I really can't tell with this ABC broadcast, if I'm honest. But the pick is in for the Patriots, and we're waiting for the commish here for the fourth overall pick. Overall pick. All right, the pick is in. Here we go, New England. All right, here comes the commish. Will Campbell, tackle out of LSU. That's the right pick. That is the right pick. You're protecting Drake May. You are getting him a tackle or a guard. You're investing in your franchise quarterback. This is a smart pick by the Patriots. Good for the Patriots as the Cleveland Browns are back on the clock. Let me get them up here. But yeah, like I said, the biggest concern with Will Campbell, right? It's gonna be his arm length, and so he might have to kick into guard. But if he was ranked as a guard, I would still have him as the highest ranked guard and interior lineman. Tackle. He can play tackle. He can play guard if you need him to. Invest in Drake May. This is a very solid pick for the Patriots. I was looking at him last year for potential for the Broncos when we were picking like top 5 in constant mocks, but obviously we don't need a tackle, and he's going 4th overall. So good for the Patriots here at pick number 4 in getting protection for their franchise quarterback. You got a lot of weapons last year, right? You got, who was it? It was Jalen Polk who they got, and I think they grabbed another receiver later on. They invested the weapons, sort of. You might still want another weapon, but this is smart. You want to get your franchise quarterback some help. We saw what Bo Nix did with a really solid offensive line last year. So Patriots investing in that line for Drake May. Smart pick. You can never hate on your team going O-line to protect your quarterback. It's also not only going to protect your quarterback, it's going to help open up the run game as well. So going to have these solid offensive linemen, and that's who the Patriots grab here at 4th overall to protect their former 3rd overall pick last year, and Drake May. As the Browns have about just under 7.5 minutes left, are they looking to trade again? We will keep you updated. Right now, I don't see anything, but Will Campbell, the 4th overall pick, went Cam Ward to Travis Hunter, and a big trade up from the Jaguars were, okay, the pick is in for the Browns, and breathe a sigh of relief, Broncos country. We're not trading up into the top 5. We're good. We are good here. Now, I think the most nerve-wracking place would be the Saints with Sean Payton's potential old relationship with Mickey Loomis. And yeah, so that will be interesting. But because at that point, you would be trading up for one of the tight ends in Warren or Loveland. And I don't know if I would do that. I'm a big Warren fan, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. But the pick is in for Cleveland. And if I had to guess, my 2, it would be either Mason Graham to help out your defensive line with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett coming off the edge, and then you got Mason Graham as that interior pressure. Or Ashton Jeanty, like I mentioned earlier, to start the transition from Nick Chubb to Ashton Jeanty with how Nick Chubb potentially, might be coming to an end of his career with that freak injury he suffered. So, yeah. Browns pick is in. They're showing just Will Campbell, I mean, an absolute mauler. Biggest concern is that arm length, but if he can stick at tackle, I think he'll be a solid tackle, right? So good pick. Good pick for the Patriots. I keep saying this and I sound like a broken record, but if you're investing in your quarterback with the offensive line, that's a great pick. That is a great pick. But yeah, Browns here. Browns here at pick numero 5 that they traded down with the Jaguars. And dude, if the Browns get Ashton Jeanty and they picked up a second-round pick, a fourth-round pick, and a future first, that's not horrible. Of course, we'll have to see what becomes of Travis Hunter, but Jeanty would still be a heck of a player in his own right. Plus, you're getting more picks for the future. So, that's not horrible. That is not horrible. All right. Browns pick is in. Raiders on the clock, and the Jets are in the hole. They're talking about Will Campbell when they officially got sold on him. They're saying Will Campbell punched punched Mike Vrabel on a secret workout, or not, maybe not a secret workout, but on a visit, and that's what sold him. That's at least the report, right? Here's the Brown selection, though. They're panned into the stage for the 5th overall pick for the Brown. Oh, here's the Brown selection. Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. They are pairing Myles Garrett with Mason Graham. Solid pick. Solid pick for the Cleveland Browns as the Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock. And, oh boy, brace Broncos fans. Brace for what's about to happen. But, honestly, Mason Graham, the best interior guy in this class. He was expected to go high. We knew he was going to go high in this draft. So, yeah, we knew this was going to happen. He was a very solid player for the Michigan Wolverines, a big impact and a big reason why they won the national championship 2 seasons ago. So, yeah, and that's Mason Graham. He's going 5th overall to the Cleveland Browns. And here at number 6, Braves Broncos fans, this pick might be painful. Might be painful for us. The Raiders might get back-to-back generational talents in the first round as they have 8 minutes, and I can almost... Okay, yeah, the pick is in. That was really quick. I think it's going to be Jeanty, and yeah, it's most likely going to be Ashton Jeanty. Don't see it being Tyler Warren, with obviously them taking Brock Bowers last year. They took Michael Mayer the year before that, but he's apparently looking to be traded. So, yeah. Yeah. But Ashton Jeanty here, he looks like he is going to be the pick here for the Raiders. And I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for this. But yeah, he's a solid pass rusher and run defender. The Browns are getting a stud to pair with Myles Garrett. You might be having a hard time doubling Myles Garrett with Mason Graham on the interior, right? So he's going to be a very, very solid option for the Cleveland Browns, the former Michigan defensive tackle. Jeanty will only have 3 to 5 years. Running backs don't last long. I mean, that can be true, but I mean, we've seen Saquon Barkley. He's had new life, and he was drafted all the way back in 2018. So while it is typically true, if depending on the tread on the tire, so to speak, that they have, right, we'll have to see. We'll have to see, because I feel like that is a stereotype, and, well, it is very true for running backs, you know. It is true. It's not necessarily true for all of them, so to speak. So we'll have to see. For Jeanty's sake, I hope he lasts longer than 3 to 5 years. But because he's on the Raiders, you know, it's going to be It's going to be hard for me to root for him, but yeah, we'll have to see. Sorry, I thought my phone was ringing on a call that I might have to take, but no, we're good. We're good. As the Raiders pick is in. All right, they're interviewing Mason Graham's parents, I believe, right now. Now, the Browns used the 5th overall pick on Mason Graham, so that was obviously their guy since they traded down. They could be looking to trade back up into the first. And you know what? I know this isn't going to happen, but if the Browns offered the Broncos their second round pick, which would be the 2nd overall pick in the 2nd round, and their first round pick that they got from the Jaguars in next year's draft, I would take it. I would take it for a future first. I know that's not what's going to happen, by the way, but if they did offer us that, I would I'd be hard pressed to turn that down, man. I would be very hard pressed to turn that down. Also depends on who's on the board, I guess, because my guys for the Broncos, still Travion Henderson, still Emeka Egbuka, and still Luther Burden. As the pick is in for the Raiders with Pete Carroll. This is the new regime. They signed Geno Smith to an extension. They got Brock Bowers. Here's the commissioner. He is about to deliver us some bad news, I believe. Ashton Jeanty, running back out of Boise State, as the New York Jets are on the clock. And now, I'm kind of breathing a sigh of relief, because if the Broncos did trade up, it would most likely be for one of the 2 tight ends in Warren or Loveland. If I had to pick one, it'd be for Warren, but don't want to trade up at all now. Don't want to trade up at all, but man, we're going to have to go against Jeanty. They got Brock Bowers. And Geno Smith, while he's not maybe the best quarterback in the division, he can distribute the ball and he can get the ball out, and this is going to help take pressure off of him. So, man, this sucks. This sucks, man. This sucks, as the Jets have 4 minutes left on the clock for their pick, but Ashton Jeanty is a Las Vegas Raider. Man. And the pick is in for the Jets, but yeah, I mean, the Raiders, though, they always have had a solid back, right? Ashton Jeanty, this past year, not so much, but before that, it was current Packer and Josh Jacobs. So they've typically had good running backs. So this is nothing new. This is no new MO. But Jeanty he's a guy. He's a guy who can be a solid running back. You might worry a little bit about the ball security, specifically in that playoff game against Penn State. And that's just an outlier in my opinion. I'm not going to trash him now that he's on the Raiders, right? I think he's still a solid player. He's someone who you are going to have a hard time tackling. He can carry the workload. Did play against lesser competition, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse. We saw what happened last year with Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo. He was solid, going way back to Randy Moss. He ended up being all right. So, yeah, just because he was in the Mountain West Conference doesn't mean this is a horrible pick. Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders. I hate it, but he is going to be a solid back in my opinion. Now all the Broncos Jeanty dreamers can stop talking about getting him. Terrible he's a Raider. That nonsense of trading up is crazy. 100% agree with you. I loved, they're showing Barry Sanders, Oklahoma State legend. But 100% agree with you. Love Jeanty as a player. Great prospect, great player. But you're right. That trade up cost, that's way too much. That's way too much for a running back. If you're not getting a quarterback and you're going to be paying all this draft capital to move up into the top 10 from 20, man, that's expensive, right? Yeah, you're right. I love Jeanty. Too much of a dream, essentially. Too much of a cost to move up. I don't think we move up now. Please no trade up. Stick at 20 or trade down. Stick at 20 or trade down, right? But, yeah, I 100% agree with you, Judson. 100% agree with you that that we can stop talking about a trade up for Genty. Great player, not trading up for him. Not trading up for him. As yeah, the Jets. Fun fact though, as an Oklahoma State fan, one of our quarterbacks last year, Garrett Rangel, he entered the transfer portal, but he was actually Ashton Genty's quarterback in high school, which is a fun fact. But yeah, Genty, a Raider now, so gonna have to play him twice a year. Twice a year, we will be facing the new Vegas Raider and Ashton Genty, as we are now on a commercial break. All right. Here we go. All right. Jets here at pick 7. Who do we think it's going to be? Who do we think it's going to be? How to respond to that real quick. Who do we think it's going to be? To me, I have Armand Membu mocked here at pick 7. Could be Tyler Warren though, right? So we'll see. We will see for sure. For sure. Still waiting for the commercial to come back, but Jets pick is in. Cardinals are on the clock, and Saints are at pick number 9. And the Saints pick, the Saints pick still worries me with the trade up rumors. Still worries me. I don't think we do, but it scares me. It does truly scare me. AFC West is going to be scary. It is, man. It is. You can never count the Chiefs out as much as I'd like to. You can never count them out. The Chargers obviously made the playoffs last year. We're obviously in there and on the rise. And then, you got the Raiders, who are building a solid foundation, extending Max Crosby, signing Christian Wilkins 2 off seasons ago. You got Bowers. You got Genty now, obviously. I don't know why I was just blanking on his name. Line might be a little shaky. You got Jackson Powers Johnson, right? But line could be used a little bit. Maybe receivers could be used a little bit. But yeah, it is an arms race. You think it's Warren, but you'd pick Membu. Yeah, I think it's going to be Membu. They could use, obviously, a tight end, but I think they're going to protect Justin Fields. At least my mock had Armand Membu. But Jets like shiny new toys. That's true. Except for last year when they drafted Olu Fashanu. Except for last year. But, yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be Membu. I think they're going to protect Justin Fields and whatnot. They got Darren Muji. They got the Moosh, former Broncos GM. Now, Rick Spielman's in there too. So maybe they're turning the corner. Maybe they're building up that offensive line. But we'll see. I could see either. But in my mock, I had Membu, so I'm going to stick with that. I mean, it could be Ted McMillan now that Kirk Herbstreit mentions it. They kind of could use a wide receiver potential. Or no, they got Garrett Wilson as their wide receiver 1. But if they wanted a different style of receiver, they could go get Ted McMillan. So, and by the way, if Ted McMillan's on the board for the Broncos, I don't want him. I think we already have that player in Cortland Sutton. We need a different type of playmaker. We need a separator like Ibuka, just to get that out in the open. But here's a Jet selection at pick number 7. Armand Membu, tackle out of Missouri. Yeah, that's the smart pick. This is a smart pick for the Jets. They grab offensive tackle to help out Justin Fields or whoever their franchise quarterback is going to be in the future. Good pick. Not going to hate on them for taking an offensive lineman. And you're hoping that Olufashanu and Armand Mimbu, they're going to be your book and tackles for the next decade plus. So solid pick for the Jets. I'm not going to be hating on that pick. They did the smart thing, and they didn't take the shiny new toy. As if I can find it, the NFC South, the Panthers are now on the clock, and they have just over 2 minutes remaining, 2 minutes, 15 seconds to be exact, as the pick just went in. And Armand Mimbu, obviously, I'm an Oklahoma State fan, but my sister goes to the University of Missouri, so I do have a little bit of love for Missouri players. But yeah, maybe the Broncos pick up a Missouri player in Luther Burden later. We'll have to see. We will have to see. If I'm honest, though, I think this is how the next 3 picks are going to play out. I think it's going to be Jalen Walker here to the Panthers. At least this is what I have in my mock. Jalen Walker. At 9, I think it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. And then at 10, I think it's going to be Amari Hampton. Ben Johnson, when we was with the Lions, they took Jahmyr Gibbs way higher than I think a lot of people were expecting. And so I think Amari Hampton goes to the Bears. Ibuka, please? I hope so. I hope so. If we get any one of the 3 I mentioned at the start of the top of the show, I'm going to be ecstatic. Going to be ecstatic. But yeah, I think Nick Saban said this is the best offensive lineman in the draft. Hey, he could be. He could be. It's just between him and Will Campbell, in my opinion. Although I do kind of like Kelvin Banks as well. I do kind of like Kelvin Banks, but dude, I'm with you. I'm hoping we double dip at Ohio State. We get 2 Ohio State first round picks, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Panthers pick is in. The Saints are on the clock, and kind of getting nervous with this Saints pick. I hope we're not trading up. I hope we're not trading up. So Panthers here. I would expect it to be Jalen Walker. Like I said, Jalen Walker is who I expect. So we'll see. If we switch over to my screen here real quick, Jalen Walker is my 8th overall player. If we look above him, Hunter gone, Abdul Carter gone, Genti gone, Will Johnson, Tyler Warren are the only 2 left still above him. Don't see them going corner this high. I think they would want to affect their defensive line if they go defense. And I don't see them going tight end. They got JT Sanders last year, who I still really like as a prospect. So I do think it's going to be Jalen Walker, but that's just me, right? That is just me. Now, how far does Warren and Loveland fall? I think Warren goes to the Colts, and then Loveland will be interesting. Could go to the Cowboys potentially at 12. The Cowboys actually picked before the Colts, but Cowboys and Colts could be the 2 destinations for the tight ends. And I mean, I'd like Colston Loveland, but I wouldn't prefer him. I know you don't necessarily always draft for need. You got to draft for the future as well. And Evan Ingram's older, right? And, he's only on a 2-year contract, but I like the value of tight end later. You could get one of the 2 Colorado kids in Terrence Ferguson or Gunnar Helm in the 3rd or 4th round. So to me, I don't think it's worth trading up. And even if Loveland does fall to the Broncos, I might still pass. But that's just me. But if I had to guess where they fall, I would say the Cowboys and the Colts are the 2 destinations for the 2 top tight ends. That is what I think. I think it's the Cowboys, and I think it's the Colts. And here's all I'm going to say, and I know it's probably a long shot this happens. Amari Hampton goes 10 to the Bears. Warren goes 12 to the Cowboys. And Loveland goes 14 to the Colts. I think there's a very, 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 very good chance that the Broncos walk away with Travion Henderson or Emeka Egbuka. So that's kind of what I'm rooting for right now for selfish reasons, but we will have to see. Broncos could go BPA, but BPA might be Emeka Egbuka, right? So we'll see. And sometimes in the first round, you combine BPA with position and need. It's not just strictly BPA. So, I mean, we'll have to see. But the pick is in for the Panthers. We're waiting for commercial break to come back. The Saints are on the clock. And yeah, Saints are the last place I'm worried about a potential trade up for the Broncos. And if we survive, that, we're good, right? Survive that, we're good. All right, here we go. Ferguson in the third round, wouldn't mind that at all. Wouldn't mind that at all. Has the familiarity with Bo Nix and also has, or is a Colorado kid, right? So actually, he went to, can't remember exactly what high school, but I think it's around where I went to high school too. So I do think we actually played him and Gunnar Helm, which is crazy. All right, here's the Panthers selection at pick 8. Tetairoa McMillan. Wow. Tetairoa McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona, is going to the Panthers. They're getting Bryce Young, another weapon. Not horrible. Of course, there was the video coming out that came out a few years ago where he said that he doesn't watch or study film, and you know he can grow and change. That is a concerning video, not gonna lie, but he can change, and you know he's a different type of receiver than Leggett. Leggett's a separator. This is a more jump ball guy. T-Mac, the first receiver off the board, if you don't count Travis Hunter, right? But they're beefing up. They're getting Bryce Young, another weapon. Okay, as the Saints are on the clock. The Saints are on the clock with 3 minutes remaining, and I'm hoping the pick is in. I hope it says the pick is in. I need it. But, you know, I thought the Panthers were going to go defense, but they help out Bryce Young by getting a receiver in the first. And even if McMillan was still there at 20, I wouldn't have taken him because of sorry, let me think straight. We already have that type of receiver in Courtland Sutton, right? So, and the pick is in. I think this all but guarantees the Broncos are not trading up. But essentially, what I was going to say, I thought they were going to address their defense, but Bryce Young started to take steps towards improvement. We saw the drops from Xavier Legette at the end of the season. So T-Mac, Tetairoa McMillan, is the newest receiver for Bryce Young out of Arizona. Solid player, but I wouldn't have taken him if I was the Broncos just because we have that style of receiver in Courtland Sutton. Good. T-Mac is no longer an option. I agree with you. Solid player, not what the Broncos need. Not the style of receiver the Broncos need. We need Egbuka. We need Burden. Need a Higgins, right? Those are one of the 3 receivers I need the Broncos to grab. Hopefully it's Egbuka. Hopefully it's Egbuka or Burden, but the pick is in for the Saints. We're good. I don't think we're trading into the top 10 unless we do it with the Bears, and I don't see that happening. We'll have to see. But we're good, man. We're good. We may have survived the rumors. I do think it was a smokescreen by Sean Payton, but man, it does get pretty scary. Right? So. Oh, man. We did it. We survived. All right. Here we go. Yes, sir. Saints pick is in. In my mock, it's Shedeur Sanders, but it sounds like he's going to fall. He could be available at the Broncos pick. We'll have to see. But yeah, I think they mentioned it on the broadcast, But T-Mac, Tetero McMillan is obviously, I think he's Polynesian, right? I think that's the correct term. I don't know if he's it. Yeah, Polynesia. They just said I don't know if that's from Hawaii, but it is Polynesian heritage. And yeah, I'll be honest. I do like Tetero McMillan as a receiver, but we don't. The Broncos don't need that style of receiver, right? So yeah. And for me, when I'm making a big board, right, of my top 100 players, if we go over here, right, like it's hard to separate from, in my mind, like the type and the style and the need for the Broncos compared to just a normal top 100 prospects, right? But yeah, it's just hard for me. But yeah, Panthers look good into season 2, wide receivers in round 1 for them. Yeah, and I mean, I don't hate it, right? I probably would have taken Jalen Walker since you traded away Brian Burns last year and helped out your defense. But now that I'm thinking about it, it's not a bad pick to help Bryce Young, right? He started to show improvements, and you want him to succeed with how much you invested to trade up and get him. So giving him as much help as possible, I think that is a plus. Right now, I do think you need to go and address some defensive needs in round 2 and round 3, but it's solid. It's solid. Maybe you still go offensive line to give him some more protection, but I think you got to invest heavy in the defense for the rest of the draft for the Panthers. As we are waiting for the Saints pick, the Bears are on the clock. And yeah, who is the pick going to be for the Saints? I don't know. I do not know. I would think Shedeur potentially, because they're the only team who hasn't picked a quarterback in the first round in the past 50 years. But if they're not in love with him, then you don't do it. All right, here's the Saints selection. Kelvin Banks, tackle out of Texas. Good player. I'll tell you, I really, really like Kelvin Banks as a player. I think he's going to be a really solid tackle in this league. I think he's going to be really good for the Saints. And you pair Kelvin Banks with last year's first-round pick and Talisha Fuaga, I really like that combination as the Chicago Bears are on the clock. But yeah, I really like Kelvin Banks, maybe more than a lot of people do. I really like this. Now you gotta, is this to protect Derek Carr? Because who's going to be your quarterback? I don't know if Spencer Rattler's your guy. I don't think Jake Hayner's your guy. And Derek Carr is getting older, so we'll have to see as the Bears are 4 minutes away from their pick. Still only the one trade with Travis Hunter going up, but honestly, any trade alert is going to give me a mini heart attack thinking it's the Broncos as the pick is in for the Bears here at pick 10. Broncos need to slot Abuka, Besh. Yeah, I mean, to me, and I would throw Burden into that category, by the way, because Burden can play slot and outside, in my opinion. But to me, I'm not super high on the receivers later in the draft. Like, I'm not a big Jack Besh fan. So to me, I'm really heavily targeting Abuka or Luther Burden. Maybe you know, you can say what you want about that, but not super high on the like depth of the class. Maybe they grow on me as a player, and a lot of players do grow on me, specifically when they get drafted by the Broncos. But yeah, I'm not super high on Jack Besh, but I'm just hoping we get Abuka, man. At this point, I want Abuka. Then we can stop stressing about receiver, and we can go anywhere else. That's my opinion. But the Bears pick is in my opinion, in my mock, I think this is Amarian Hampton. I think Hampton goes higher than we expect, which is fine by me because I liked Travion Henderson better. But yeah, smart pick for the Saints. Build foundation for the future quarterback. I agree. Looks like the Chicago Bears selection. Oh, they're doing a schedule release 25. Let's see here. Schedule release 25. I think they're about to announce like an international game or something. Let's see. Yeah, it is a smart pick for the Saints. Build the foundation. And honestly, that's kind of what the Broncos did, right? We built that offensive line even when Russell Wilson was there, built the offensive line, and then Knicks came in and he had one of the best offensive lines. So smart. It is a smart pick. Whether that is for Shedeur Sanders if they trade back up and get him or whatnot, but yeah, it is a very smart pick, Kelvin Banks. All right, let's see what this schedule release announcement is. Schedule will be released on May 14th is what they're saying. Schedule release. Here we go. March 14th is the schedule. Or sorry, I said March. May 14th. May 14th. I misspoke, everyone. That's my bad. That's my bad. But the Bears pick is in. Niners are on the clock, followed by the Cowboys. Waiting for the. All right, let's move the announcement along. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. As the Bears pick is in, and as you can imagine, they're getting booed by the Packers faithful. Here's the Chicago Bears. All right, here we go. I think we're still waiting for the commish here. We're still waiting for the commish here. All right, here's Goodell. He's doing an announcement. They're doing a tribute for Steve McMichael. Okay, I got you. All right, still waiting on the Bears pick. All right, here we go. 10th pick. Bears select. Wow. They took Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren. Wow. Wow. Also, let me do this. Wow. Wow. Dude, I'm shocked. I gotta adjust this because I've been doing my format wrong. But whoa. Can you guys still hear me? I just had my power just flicked. My power might go out, just so y'all are aware as the Niners are on the clock, and I'll restart the stream as soon as it comes back on if it does. But wow. I'm gonna make sure you guys can still hear me. Let's see. Here, view channel. Okay, yeah, you guys can. Perfect. But wow. Wow. Dude, I'm shocked that they picked picked Loveland over Warren. Yeah, I gotta fix this. But Colson Loveland is the newest pick for the Bears. Sorry, I gotta focus on All right. I think we're good. 11, the San Francisco 49ers are on the clock, and their pick is actually in. That means Hampton will probably be at 20. Ouch. Yeah, and I mean, it just depends on who the Broncos want. It just depends on who the Broncos want. So we'll see. I mean, Hampton wouldn't be the worst pick in the world, but yeah, I mean, I prefer Henderson. And who knows? The Broncos still could go receiver because it is a deeper running back class, right? So there still are positives, but we're fighting an uphill battle right now. All right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure everything was going good because it looked like my stream lagged for a second. As much as I love Tyler Warren, he was my tight end 1 in this class. I still wouldn't trade up for him. I still wouldn't trade up for him if I'm honest. All right. Sorry, I'm just responding to something right quick here as we're waiting for the 49ers followed by the Cowboys. I don't think the 49ers take Warren, but I think the Cowboys probably take him at 12. Right? So all right. Here we go. Waiting for the 49ers pick. Their pick is in. Waiting for the Cowboys, followed by the Dolphins. Now, let me look at the draft order here. Right. So let me start this draft so I can keep tracking. Cam Ward went 1. The Browns, I'm not going to do the trades. They took Mason Graham. The Giants took Abdul Carter. The Patriots took Will Campbell. The Jaguars took Travis Hunter. Raiders took Genty. Jets took Mimbu. Panthers took Tet McMillan. Saints took Kelvin Banks. Bears took Colston Loveland. And upcoming, for the running backs, in terms of, since honestly, I want Hampton to go off the board for the Broncos to get TreVeyon Henderson. But Niners, I don't think they pick him with CMC still. Cowboys, maybe, but I think the Cowboys go Warren. But could go running back as well. Dolphins, I don't think they go with them they selected Jalen Wright last year. They have what's his name out of Texas A&M, Devon Achane. They have Devon Achane, and they also have Raheem Mostert. So I don't think they go running back. Honestly, I think ideally for the Broncos right now, 12 being Amari and Hampton because they got Javonte having 2 UNC running backs, and then the Colts take Warren at pick 14. I think that's best case scenario for what we want to happen for the Broncos, right? So I think that is the ideal selection as we're coming back from the commercial break now. Here we go. All right. Waiting for the 49ers selection here. All right, here's Alan Roach. They're doing a video for the 49ers. They're doing a Japan Air Base selection, looks like. All right, here comes the announcement. All right, here's the 49ers selection, I think. The 49ers select Michael Williams. I thought it was going to be Jalen Walker as the next edge guy, but the edge out of Georgia. Yeah, I did think it was going to be Jalen Walker, but Michael Williams, he was like right up there. He was right up there with his teammate Jalen Walker. 49ers just might prefer Michael Williams, or something's going on with Jalen Walker. I don't know, but Michael Williams is the pick here at 12 for the, or sorry, at 11 here for the 49ers as the Dallas Cowboys are on the clock. Let's see here. NFC West, let's take that off. NFC East, let's put the Cowboys on the clock. And to me, they have a minute left, by the way. They have about a minute exactly. It just hit a minute. To me, they could be trading, but they could go Tyler Warren or Marion Hampton here at 12. And the lower this gets, the more scared I think this is going to be a trade, as the pick is in. So it's not going to be a trade. The pick is in for the Cowboys. The Dolphins are on the clock with the Colts in the hole. And yeah, let's see where this goes. I think best case scenario for the Broncos would be Amarian Hampton goes here, and then Warren goes at 14 for the Colts. I think that's best case scenario, because I don't think you can reverse it, right? I don't think if Warren goes here, I don't think Hampton goes to the Colts with Jonathan Taylor being there. So I think you have what we're hoping for. If we want to Buka Henderson, right? I think we have to. I think this has to be Hampton, and the Colts have to take Warren. And honestly, it's not far fetched. The Cowboys, they have Javonte Williams, who's kind of a flyer, right? Not the same player he was his rookie year, but you've had Zeke Elliott. You've always honestly had a solid running back. So keep that up. Get this physical 3-down running back in Hampton. Going to help him pass protection for Dak Prescott. Get your guy, Dallas. Get your guy right here. Come on. Here we go. Cowboys about to make their selection here with the 12th overall pick. All right, here's the Dallas Cowboys selection. They just took Tyler Booker, the guard out of Alabama. He was not my top interior guy. It was Gray Zabel. I think that's a reach for... In my opinion, that is a reach with the Miami Dolphins on the clock. Wow. Wow. Dude, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I mean, I think he's a solid player. I think it's early, though. I think it's way early. If we go here, not here. I've been trying to keep up on this, but the Cowboys, they selected Tyler Booker. For me, they had him as their 28th best player, but for me, dude, he's actually pretty low. He is, dude, he's low for me, and maybe I just don't see it, but maybe he's a little higher than I thought. Dude, I don't see him though. I don't know where I put him, but I was definitely not that high on Tyler Booker. I think he's a good player, but I think it's a little high. I mean, I guess you want to protect your franchise quarterback in Dak Prescott. And obviously he was invited to the draft, so the NFL thinks different of him than I do. But wow, I'm actually shocked. I'm kind of shocked. But hey, building up that offensive line, of course, Zach Martin retired. Cowboys always mess things up. And they've always taken an offensive lineman in the first round for the past few years, it seems like. Tyler Booker this year. It was Tyler Guyton last year. The year before that, who was it? It was, dude, was it Tyler Smith? Was it Tyler Smith, a tackle from Tulsa a few years ago? Let's see. Cowboys 2023 draft picks. It was, right, so Tyler Booker this year, if this thing ever loads, as we're still waiting for the Dolphins pick to be in. Let me move it over here as it takes... no, they took Mozzie Smith a few years ago. But let's see. And I mean, Mozzie Smith was also pretty early for... As the Dolphins are just over 5 minutes away. Last spot for the Broncos to jump up and draft Tyler Warren, in my opinion, would be here. But yeah, they took Tyler Guyton. Dude, they love Tyler with O-line. They took Tyler Smith out of Tulsa in 22, Tyler Guyton last year, and now Tyler Booker. There's something about Tylers who are offensive linemen for the Cowboys. There's something about that, man. There is something about that. As the Dolphins still on the clock, just under 5 minutes. Got about 4:40. So, yeah, who do the Dolphins go here? I have Will Johnson in my mock draft, the corner from Michigan. But if he is slipping due to the injury, this could maybe... I agree with you, Judson. Gray Zabel is better. But yeah, 4 minutes, 20 seconds for the Dolphins. Let's see. Yeah, even my uncle thought that Hampton was gonna go to the Cowboys. That's crazy. That's crazy. Dolphins on the clock here. All right, the pick is in for the Dolphins. I think this confirms that I need to get my phone as far away as possible because I'm just going to accidentally see spoilers, so we're throwing it on the bed. The pick is in. So I think this confirms we're not trading up. Because the Colts, I do think they're going to take Tyler Warren, right? So Dolphins, I don't think they're going to take a running back. Colts, I don't think they take a running back. Falcons, I don't think they take a running back. Cardinals at 17 or 16. Who's their current running back, right? I think it's James Conner, right? And they have Trey Benson, though. So I don't know if they go running back in the first round since they took Trey Benson last year. But we can see. And then I don't think Bengals take Amari Hampton. Could potentially. Seahawks definitely won't, and I don't think the Buccaneers do. So I think our best shot for Amari Hampton not being on the board for the Broncos would be here for the Cardinals, with them having James Conner and Trey Benson as their two running backs. But we'll see. We'll see. If these teams aren't taking running back, they will be a huge RB run in the second round. Broncos need to trade up to 28, 29, and I'd be all for that. I'd be all for that if we don't take a running back with the 20th overall pick. I'd be all for that, right? Because at the end of the day, you're just upgrading your second round pick to a late first round pick, and you might have to get rid of your third round pick potentially, and then some other later picks. But I would be all for that. I would be all for that. And then you can still get a solid tight end in the fourth. You can still get a solid defensive lineman in the fourth. I'd be all for trading up and getting 2 first-round picks. Now, I do think, unfortunately, it's very unlikely. And again, maybe it's not because Sean Payton loves to be aggressive. He loves to go and get his guys. And that's something I think we all have to remember, too. We have to trust in Sean Payton. We have to trust that he's going to get the right player and he's going to get the best out of him and he's going to build this team the right way. But, man, it's tough when you're a fan and you love a player and they go to a rival team or you don't get them right. Bengals might, you think? I mean, I think the Bengals, they grab they go defense with how much they're wrapping up in the offense. They could, but I think they like Chase Brown. I think they like Chase Brown out there. All right, waiting for the Dolphins here at pick 13. I guess they could go Tyler Warren too. Because I thought the Colts last year were going to get Brock Bowers. Obviously, he went to the Raiders, but Field Yates is talking right now. Yeah, he's just talking about Tyler Warren, not off the board yet. 7th overall player for him. And then the Bears made Loveland the first tight end off the board. All right, waiting for the Dolphins selection here. Colts on the clock. I think the commissioner's about to be on the stage and announce the selection. All right, here we go. Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. The other Michigan D tackle goes, and that's a solid pick. That's a solid pick for them. Helping out Chop, they lost Christian Wilkins last year, so they go ahead and they grab him. Solid player. I think I preferred Walter Nolan as my number 2 defensive tackle, but I mean, Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham, they were monsters up front together. They were monsters up front. As the Colts are on the clock. AFC South, the Indianapolis Colts, and the pick is in for the Colts. They ran that thing in. You have to assume this is going to be Tyler Warren to help out Anthony Richardson. Dolphins have Jonnu Smith. They do, and he had a solid pick, he had a solid season last year, but I mean, Tyler Warren is like a gadget weapon, right? I feel like Jonnu Smith, he's kind of this inline tight end who does go out and run pass patterns. I think Tyler Warren, he can be an inline guy for you if you want to run 12 personnel. He can play as a slot receiver, kind of like an Evan Ingram and how Loveland played. I think either way, he could go. He would be on the field. And I like Jonnu Smith, and I do think he's getting up there in age, right? But either way, I wouldn't have been shocked. But I do think the Colts right here are the most likely landing spot for Tyler Warren here. Maybe I'm shocked. And it's not Tyler Warren, but I feel like it is Tyler Warren, considering how much of a need tight end appears to be for them. So, but yeah, I am expecting this to be Tyler Warren, in which case, if it is, we're looking good. We are looking really good. I mean, Amarian Hampton, if he is the pick, I would like it, not love it. It would be one of those categories where it's like, okay, yeah, I like the pick, but I don't love the pick. A pick I would love, as I've been saying all night, Emeka Ibuka, Travion Henderson, Luther Burden. Those are the three love it's for me. Those are the three that I think the Broncos need to land, and we're sitting pretty. We're sitting golden. But the like it picks would be Hampton, Matthew Golden, Walter Nolan. Will Johnson would be a love it pick, though, because he's a top 5 player for me. So we'll see. But the Colts, their pick is in. The Falcons are on the clock, followed by the Cardinals. And I think the Cardinals are the most likely to take Hampton before the Broncos, and then it would be the Bengals. Best thing is we haven't traded up yet? Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, here's the Colts selection. Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. He is the selection. Yeah, that is the correct pick for the Colts. Good for them. Love Tyler Warren, but yeah, it would be too much to trade up for me. Even if it was a little bit less, right? I still wouldn't have traded up because of I don't think it's worth it. And who knows, right? Maybe we were getting all these the Broncos have been exploring trades up into the draft. Well, yeah, that could be into the late first too. I keep looking this way because this is where Chad is, by the way. But it could be could have been. I thought I took the Colts off. My bad. I'm trying to get the Falcons on the clock here. But yeah, we could have been looking to trade up into the late first, like we've been saying. But I do think, if the Broncos are on the clock, it's Ibuka, Henderson, or Hampton at this point in the draft. If we stick and pick at 20. Still only one trade in the first, too. If the Broncos do trade up in the draft, I see the Commanders as the most likely trading partner because they do not have a lot of picks with how much they've done in trading for Debo and trading for Laramie Tunsil, right? They don't have a whole lot of draft capital. So let me look this up real quick. The Commanders, they have a first. Here's all their picks. They have 5, which is 29th overall, 61st overall, 128th overall, 205th overall, and 245th overall. So I think if the Broncos do want to trade up back into the first, right, do the double dip in the first round, I think for me, the Falcons are the one where you double dip, right? All right. Dude, honestly, I'd expect Jalen Walker here to the Falcons, right? They need pass rush. Now they're probably not going to do it when they took Penix over Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, Leautu Lautu last year. So you expect it to be edge, but I don't think the Falcons are going to oblige. I'm excited now, dude. I am too. I'm getting pumped. I don't think we can mess up. I hope it's offense, right? Because I do think we need to help the offense, but a defensive player wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but I think we need running back. I think we need wide receiver too. We need someone to separate. We need someone who can get open for Bo Nix, because how often do we see him running and scrambling around looking for someone to get open and everyone was covered because we don't have a separator at receiver. We got the speed guy in Mims. We got the jump ball guy in Sutton. We got Evan Ingram, who's going to be a weapon at tight end. But yeah, I don't know. We need that separator. We need that separator as the Falcons have 4 minutes and 15 seconds left in their selection. They have not selected anyone yet. I'd expect Jalen Walker to be the pick here for an edge. All right. Jalen Walker is who I would expect, or James Pierce. I think James Pierce would be a solid pick too. I think James Pierce is a really good player. Character concerns from the experts is what's dropping him. I still think he's a solid player. And obviously, if I'm talking about a player, I got to talk about the Broncos in that. And I don't think we need an edge, especially this high. I like Nick Bonito. I like Jonathan Cooper as a duo, but we'll see. We'll see. Plus, you got Jonah Ellis, who was solid last year as a rotational guy, and you got what's his name, Dondre Tillman. You got Dondre Tillman too. So don't think we need edge, and maybe that's just hopium for a running back or a receiver. But yeah, here we go. 3 minutes left for the Falcons, and their pick is not in yet. Falcons might be looking to trade. And we're getting close to the Broncos selection. We're getting close. We're at the 15th overall pick. Broncos at 20, obviously. As the Falcons are now sitting at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. 2 minutes, 30 seconds for the Falcons selection. No pick is in yet. I mean, who knows what the Falcons are going to do. They're not going to take Hampton. They drafted Bijan a few years back, 7th overall. Bengals will probably take Mike Green. I mean, they could. We'll have to see, obviously, what the Falcons and the Cardinals do, as the Falcons are down to 2 minutes. But they could. I do think the Bengals go defense more than likely, with how much salary cap they have wrapped up on the offensive side of the football. But I would say they go whoever their best edge rusher is available, because for me that's it's Jalen Walker right now. I forgot Michael Williams went above Jalen Walker, but for me it's and the Falcons are down to a minute and a half. Are we looking at a trade here? But whoever their top edge is, I think they probably go that way. I think the Falcons probably go edge, but we'll have to see as we're getting back. Let's see what the Falcons are doing. And they took away the bar at the bottom, by the way. I don't know if the pick is in or not. I don't know why they take away the scroll bar for some commercials and some promos and whatnot. Just leave it on the screen, man. I hope the Broncos trade down. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But if their guys there at pick 20, I'm hoping they stick and pick, but I would not hate a trade down either. As the Falcons, dude, they got 35 seconds, so I'm kind of thinking a trade is here. Unless they haven't updated the graphic, right? All right, the pick is finally in for the Falcons. This has got to be an edge rusher, right? This has got to be Jalen Walker, James Pierce Jr., right? But yeah, Tyrone, I would not mind a trade down. At this point, I'm kind of wanting to stick and pick, take either Emeka Buka, Travion Henderson, Luther Burden, and then trade up with the Commanders or someone and grab either running back or receiver, what other position you didn't grab. Extra capital is nice. But I'm kind of all in on getting a top receiver and top running back that I'm willing to sacrifice some capital a little bit. And that's me, but I'm open to a trade down too. And we could trade down if someone wants to jump the Steelers for Shedeur or someone at quarterback, right? So absolutely we could trade down. All right, waiting for the Falcon selection. Their pick is in. To me, this has to be Jalen Walker. They've needed edge help for a while now. Let's see. Offensive weapons. You got Pitts. You got Drake London. You got Bijan. I go defense. go defense, Falcons. I think you need an edge rusher. My opinion. My opinion, you need an edge. So let's see. As the pick is in for the Falcons, Cardinals on the clock. Let's see where the Falcons go. All right, let's see where the Falcons select, or who the Falcons select. But board looks great for us right now. Pick 20. It does. It looks amazing right now. All right, here's the Falcons selection. Jalen Walker, edge out of Georgia. They finally did it. They got themselves an edge piece. Good for the Falcons, man. Good for the Falcons. That's the right pick. That's the right pick. You needed edge rush help. You've needed some pass rush. And you finally get another pass rusher to help you out in Jalen Walker. He's in state. He stays in state at Georgia. And I'm sure they're shocked. I think they were expecting to have to take a Michael Williams, who I think Jalen Walker was the better of the two edge rushers, in my opinion. But who knows? I think the Falcons got to be ecstatic that Jalen Walker was there at 15. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. As the Cardinals are now on the clock at pick number 16. This could potentially be Amarian Hampton. I know they took Trey Benson last year, but different style of running backs. Hampton would be a 3-down back for them. And I'm saying this because I want Travion Henderson. We'll see. We'll see. I'm getting pumped. We're getting closer, man. We're getting closer. 6.5 minutes left for the Cardinals. Then it's the Bengals at 17. Seahawks at 18. Buccaneers at 19. Then we're up at 20. And then do we trade down with the quarterback needy team and pick up extra draft capital? If a team, I'll be honest, I love Ibuka and I like Henderson or love Henderson as well. So would be ecstatic with that. But if the Browns called up Denver, they're like, hey, for the 20th overall pick, we'll give you pick 33, some extra stuff, and we'll give you one of the first we have next year since they have Jacksonville's first as well. And they offered the second pick in the second round and a future first. I would answer it. Now, I'd take it. I think that's unlikely. I don't think they would give up a future first. They could, but I think I would potentially take it if they offered it that. And then, you could trade up again in the late part of the first and hopefully get your guy. But we'll see. We'll see. 5.5 minutes remain for the Cardinals as we await their selection, followed by the Bengals, Seahawks, Buccaneers, and then us. Also, Malachi Starks is my number one safety over Nick Emanwari. I think Malachi Starks is going to the Eagles. They just have a pipeline, it seems, from Georgia up to Philadelphia. That's my protection right now, or prediction right now. Waiting for the Cardinals here for just under 5 minutes now and a half. The Cardinals, Monty Ossenfort is on the phone right now. Who is? I would assume this is for a player. I don't think they're hammering out a trade. Considering they got cameras rolling and whatnot, I do expect the pick to officially be in, but we'll see. We will see as we are almost 2 hours into this draft, and man, it has been flying by. Sorry for hitting the microphone. I always do on accident, but yeah, I do expect the Cardinals pick to be in at some point. I think they're picking a player, so I think the Bengals will be on the clock at 17, and for me, the pick just went in. If I'm the Bengals, you could go Hampton, but I think you like Chase Brown as your running back. To me, my best edge player would be James Pierce. I think they would be ecstatic if they could get James Pierce at 17, a really solid edge rusher, because you're going to have to draft defense with how much money you've got tied up on offense. I think you're going to have to draft defense and defense heavy this year specifically. But you could get Will Johnson, right? A slot corner. He would help out. He's a top 5 player for me. Let me look let's look at my top prospects available still here, right? Okay, so still available. Will Johnson, my number 4 overall player, right? James Pierce, my number 10 overall player. Malachi Starks, my number 13.